Welcome back, folks, to Fishing Planet. You guys have had some questions recently. I've done some videos way in the past about some of these things, but I think the next couple days we're gonna go over some of these ones that you've asked me about recently, especially now that we're in a new year and them videos are getting older. But today we're gonna talk about my top five most used um, lure poles. You guys have been asking us. Now, I did do a video on this a while back. This is, I think, probably slightly different now. But let's get started. I don't like long videos. Anyway, at five is actually one I don't think I've ever had on the list, and that is the River Spear 8.2 setup. And I'll kind of let you guys see these setups if you guys want to change them. The reason this one is on the list isn't, I wouldn't say I use it like crazy. The reason it's on the list is I use it a lot of times when these other poles aren't necessarily a good choice. For example, I have a light setup for it as well that I use. For example, it's very handy at uh, Falcon Lake, or Tiber River, where I just turned I'm using the casting weight of the rod for trout and such. Now, it's a very particular set when it becomes useful, but it's good to have nonetheless. At number four is a new pole. This used to be the Thora. I can't even remember now anymore. But with the new changes to the reels and changes to everything, but most people notice the reel changes. This is now the Thora setup that I use, and this thing works super well. This is one pole that years ago, these Thoras, I never really used them much. I had a tendency to lean towards the bass casters, and the more that I play, and the more that have gotten better at the game, the more I've definitely went towards the Thoras. At number three is the Nile Chaser. Now, this isn't for no particular reason other than right now it's currently the biggest spinning pole with decent recovery. And really, this spot is always going to be taken up by one of the biggest pole at the time. A year ago, or 2 years ago, it might have been the Tropicana. Before that, it was probably the Sharpcaster, both of which I'd almost never use anymore. And now it's the Nile Chaser. Although this is something I probably keep around for a long time. But with that being said, these next two are used more than all my other poles. And they also happen to me, even though this is my top five used lure poles, these next two also happen to be my next two favorites. And no surprise, Jig Winner 810 or 270 for our metric friends. And you can see this setup. This is a early game. There is nothing in my eyes that competes with this thing. It is so balanced, and you can use it pretty much everywhere. The only difference that I've made now after the update is I put a Bremer 5000 on it. And I know you could get slightly more out of the pole, but I like the Bremer recovery on this setup. So this is just hands down a very good pole. I mean, I use this, and you still can all the way through like Michigan if you really want. And yes, they're very not too long ago, I caught unique pike and muskie on this. I don't know that it'll work on muskie anymore, but because of the weight restrictions. But like I said, you can use this pole for a long time. And my favorite, which is to nobody's surprise, is the Fire Zeus 810. This is the one pole in the game I have caught everything from spotted bass and Lone Star all the way to even now perch at Congo. Now I don't think you can do that with the weight restrictions, but this had no problem with it with the Texas rig on it. The reason this is also my most used pole is it's the most versatile pole. For a lot of you lures, I use the Griffin Spot, and one of the changes, you guys, is going to be a little slight adjustment to the reels. But with that being said, this is the most versatile pole in the game too, having the fastest reel speed recovery in the game, so super important for getting fish into the in. To you can slow it down quite a bit. Even you can even go slower than this one if you want. And there is two more options that other people use, like I believe the XL spinner. I really only use these three: the Kraken 9000 and the Thunder Spin and the Griffin Spot. But I do slow it down for top water and such like that. And this is just a normal Zeus 810, by the way. I just happen to have the Fire Zeus up for the video because, as you guys know, I use this thing quite a bit. I would say these two poles right here, Jig Winner 810, Fire Zeus 810, both of which are 270 metric. I use more than every other pole on the list combined. Any other pole in the entire game, including bottom rods or bait rods. These two I use so often. With that being said, let me know what your most used pole is down in the comments. You guys know I love reading comments, and I can't wait to see what you guys put. Anyway, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.